Good morning and welcome to another pre-market session with the Market Trader. My name's Ray, the Market Trader. And before we start the session, let's go ahead and review our risk disclosure. Okay, just remind everyone that the content that's being published and distributed herein by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information contained is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of the investment capital. Only risks capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or Forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. So now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure, we're going to go ahead and move into the financial portals, financial news, okay, just to get a sense what we have in store in the news that could potentially impact the market. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to our news portal, okay, and take a look at that. All right, so let's go ahead and open that up here. All right, here we are. All right, so taking a look at the news. Okay, so we have OPEC that has reported their monthly report. We have Fed manufacturing that has already reported. We have some G7 summit meetings that are taking place throughout the day. Okay. And then we have a 10-year or 20-year and 20-year a bond report coming out at 1 p.m. And then more G7 summit kind of meetings results, okay, throughout the day. So I wouldn't say necessarily high impact news, but certainly news that could impact the markets, given all the geopolitical kind of items that we're dealing with at the moment here. Okay. As we look into the week, we have some retail sales month over month. We have U.S. industrial production month over month that will be reporting tomorrow. That should definitely impact the markets. And then as we head further into the week, we have jobless claim, U.S. housing starts, EIA inventory reports for crude oil, and then an interest rate decisions, FOMC coming to this Wednesday. Okay, so while we don't have much in the way, we as the week progresses, we have a fair amount of news that could definitely shake up the markets here. Okay. All right. Now that we've gotten through the news here, we're gonna go ahead and turn our attention to the markets. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move over to the markets here. We'll go ahead and open that up here. We're gonna go ahead and start with our normal market here, and that's the gold market. Okay. And I'm starting here with the daily chart. Okay, so you can see on the daily chart that for the most part we've been in an uptrend. Okay, of late we've been in some sort of consolidation pattern, some sort of ascending type of wedge pattern here. Okay, in this market. Okay, extending wedge. We're kind of at the apex of this wedge here. Now we're currently developing a little bit of a bearish candle here. There's as we started the week in trading, there's been, I guess, a fair amount of selling that has taken place in the gold market. But I would say that on the daily chart, we are I would say bullish to somewhat neutral in the market. Okay, moving down to the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we get a little. We'll kind of zoom in on some of these candles here. We're gonna go ahead and turn off initial balance here for the moment. Okay. Now you can see here on the visible range volume profile here. You can see that price is above the value range. Okay. Now, indicating that folks are willing to pay a premium to be a part of this market. Now, with that said, we have a number of, I guess, short time sellers, okay, in this market. All right. Looking at an area that I would be maybe looking at maybe for a potential opportunity. I can see here right around the 3410 level. Okay, this is an area that was prior resistance. Okay, that can now turn to be supportive. So this area here at 3410, 3410, maybe 3410 is not only an area of prior resistance, but it's also the high end of value. Okay. So those participants who are, I guess, looking to get a, how we say, somewhat of a discounted price in gold would probably be looking at maybe the top end of this range. Okay. Some of the same participants that drove price here to the upside, okay, could be potentially interested in participating or adding to their position here at the high end of value. Okay. So looking at moving on to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart here, we can take a look. All right. Now, again, on the short-term basis, okay, looking at the start of the week here, even into Friday, okay, we do seem to have, at least on the short term, a fair amount of sellers in the market. We've been kind of consolidating for the most of the evening, okay, here, okay, creating a little bit of range kind of price action. And first thing I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to add the anchored VWAP to the top of the end of the range here, okay, just to get a sense of that, okay. So you can see here, actually, we're going to move that over to London, okay, the start of London, and that's probably going to give us the same information, okay. But you can see here that we are hovering around the VWAP here, okay. So fair amount of interest in really not really providing us anything in the way of direction at the moment in this market. Now we are in an area of some demand, but we are in short time bearish price structure. Price is below VWAP, okay. Our daily VWAP, okay. So fair amount of sellers in the market. We're going to go ahead now and open up our fixed range volume profile here, okay, and get a sense where they're. So let's see, we're going to go ahead and locate Friday's session here, okay, and we're going to drag that to the close of the session right about here. Okay, there it is. Okay, so you can see again that we see that price is below, okay, is below the market here. All right, so we can see that price is below value. Again, folks are potentially paying a little bit of a premium to participate here to the downside. Now we are developing, okay, in an area where we would expect to see, okay, this area here around 34.16, 34.15. Looks like we are developing a little bit in the way of maybe a little bit of a double bottom here, okay. This being the first part of the bottom. It's not what I wanted. Let's go ahead and trend line here. Okay, so if you can see here, this what maybe the first V pattern that I'm seeing. Okay, and then we are in the midst of maybe potentially developing another V pattern of sorts here. Okay. Okay, so it looks like we're developing a little bit of a double bottom here in the markets, okay, indicating that maybe that we found some temporary support that could potentially lead us back to the VWAP, okay, back to the edge of value from Friday, Okay, so this is kind of what I'm looking at here, is that kind of potential little scalp opportunity up to that level. Now, assuming that we can get a back above VWAP, that opens the door maybe for price to head back to the highs of the day here. Okay, at the start of Sunday here. Okay, so headed into the market on the higher time frame, we're starting to see a little bit of evidence here that maybe we're starting to see a little bit of bearish price action. On the shorter term, we've come into some areas of demand here, the lower end of this value range, visible range. I'm going to go ahead and open up our initial balance here, okay? Not for the Asia session, but for the US session, okay? And get a sense for where we are there, okay? So again, I'm going to be patient and wait for this initial balance range to establish. Wait for some indication, some candle, either to exceed the high end of initial balance or low end of initial balance. Let market participants tell me which direction they wish to take the market. Okay. So headed into the session again, I'm going to be looking maybe for an opportunity here, maybe to the bullish side, since we are given a kind of in demand here. I'm going to be a little bit careful because we are seeing some signs on the higher time frame, okay, that maybe there is some interest here to the bearish side, okay. So I'm going to be targeting, at least initially here, potentially up to the VWAP as my first kind of destination, low end of value as my first destination. And then ultimately, I'm going to be looking at the high end of value, okay, as maybe an area of some resistance, okay, or target for price. We have our point of control also just above the edge of value at 3450. Okay, that could serve as, again, as a kind of a magnet to price as well. Okay, so that's kind of what I have for the gold market. We're going to go ahead now and move on to the crude oil market. Again, starting off with the daily chart here, and seeing what the daily chart is telling us. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the daily. Again, similar to what we were seeing in the gold market, we are developing a little bit of a bearish pattern here around the what's that, 78 level. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of rejection away from the 78 level. Okay, you can see that we've come up to this area of price, and that has been met with some sellers here. Okay, we've gotten a relatively strong push to the upside as a result of some of the geopolitical items that we're having in the world. That's causing to, I guess, question the supply of oil, and that initially drove price to the upside. Okay, now that news has been out, and they understand that maybe that impact is not as strong, we're starting to see a little bit of selling in the markets here. Okay, so on the daily side, I would say that this level here around 71, okay, could be an area of potential support in this market. Okay, on the daily side, that's the high end of value of this visible range volume profile I have here on the right hand side. Okay, moving into the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and turn off our initial balance range here off for a moment. You can see here on the 4-hour chart, we're well above the value range that's been established here. Okay, indicating that there's a fair amount of interest here to the bullish side of the markets. Okay, again, this level here around 69. Okay, is the high end of value here in the 4-hour range, visible range that I have displayed on the screen. Okay, so a couple areas that we've identified on this one above on the daily side, this one here on the 4-hour side. So a couple of levels. Again, looking at this from left to right, you can see that the market has been in some sort of uptrend. Okay, so as long as this trend line is maintained, okay. So again, the levels that we are talking about here, especially on this chart, would be around the 69 level. Okay, I understand that that's market is well above that level, but 69 on the 4-hour chart. The expectation is that area is going to serve as maybe a potential area of support here. Okay, I'm just going to adjust this here a little bit. Okay, somewhere in that range. Okay, somewhere in this range here around the 69 level. would prove as an area here, maybe of some potential support, okay, that could lead us to the upside, okay? All right, so moving on to the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart here, okay, you can see on the short-term basis, we see that price is below our VWAP, okay? So there's a lot of short-time sellers of crude oil at the moment in this market. We're going to go ahead and remove some of our drawings here just to kind of improve our visibility of the charts. Okay, so we've come into some area here of support. Okay, you can see that we've come down to an area where we've reversed in the past, reversed here, came back, reversed here, and we're back at that level again around 71. Okay, so this could continue to be an area of support that could offer us opportunities for some bullish trades potentially. Okay, without having to manage, without having to risk a haul all that much. Okay. Now on the volume profile, we have kind of a double distribution here. Okay, so we have a high end of value, or the second, not quite the highest end of value here, around 73. Okay, and then we have a lower distribution here around 67. Okay, and then we have a gap. Okay, in the middle. All right, so if we do manage to close below 71, there's a reasonable that we could easily kind of traverse through this area with because of the lack of volume here. Okay, let's go ahead now and open up our fixed range volume profile. Let's go ahead and get a sense for where price is in relation to Friday's session. Okay, and here we are. You can see that price is below value. Okay, indicating that at least for now. Okay, but we're not actually. We just opened the markets here. At least for now, we are below value, indicating that there is a fair amount of interest, or our participants are willing to pay a fair amount of a premium to participate in a downside move. Okay, so you can see here price is below VWAP, again, giving us an indication that we are in some sort of bearish price structure. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up initial balance here. So we have a very tight initial balance range, but we've only been open here now for a little over 4 minutes. Okay, in this market. Okay, so right now I would say, at least on the shorter time frame, we are seeing a little bit in the way of some kind of bearish price action. We have some overnight sellers in this market. The question now is going to become: are these sellers going to remain? Or are we going to begin to see buyers stepping into this market, okay, and maybe offer us an opportunity, maybe at least back up to VWAP here to 73, back to point of control, back to inside value, okay, is kind of what I'm looking at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and identify value area low. That's going to be at least an important initial level here, okay. If we are able to manage to get above that level or not. Okay, so this level here around 72, okay, is going to be an important level. Okay, is price able to get back inside value? If we are able to close back inside value, I would expect price to make a quick rotation through value all the way up to 73 and a half. Okay, if we are not able to close back inside, then I would say that there's a reasonable expectation that we could potentially extend lower in this market. Okay, so headed into the session, I'm going to be quite keen in watching and understanding what this 30-minute candle is going to do. Is this 30-minute candle going to get us back inside value, or are we going to stall around value area low and offer us maybe an opportunity to the downside? Now, what I am seeing on this kind of downside move, okay, I'm seeing more in the way of overlapping prices. Okay, we have a bearish candle followed by a bullish candle, followed by another bearish, followed by another bullish. So the downside auction, or the downside momentum in this market does appear to be kind of slowing here a bit. Okay, so we'll have to see, again, whether we get some evidence, and the evidence that I'm going to be looking for is, can price hold above this initial balance range? Okay, We're going to mark that in green. Okay. Can we get above that initial balance range? That could be the kind of the price event that I need to see in order for me to maybe embrace a bullish trade, at least up to VWAP. Okay. I would say that that's a reasonable target for this move, and that wouldn't necessarily break kind of the bearish structure that we're in. Now, beyond that, okay, I need to be careful because I do see that I am in some bearish structure, and VWAP would be kind of the reasonable target for that. Now, if we are able to get above this area of consolidation here around, say, 73, okay, then we open up the doors to maybe some of the previous highs. But for now, I would say that we are kind of a little bit extended to the downside. I think that has kind of alerted some of the buyers here on the left-hand side. So that could cause price to at least get back up to VWAP, back to point of control. Okay. All right. So before we move on to the equities, I just kind of want to remind everyone, to encourage everyone to, if you're not a subscriber to and you want to be alerted of these kinds of sessions in the future, I would encourage you to hit the subscribe button. For those who have attended in the past and find this supportive of their analysis of the markets, I would encourage you to hit the like buttons, comment on the impact that this is having on your ability to analyze the markets. And then the other, there's other sessions that we have here that are part of the membership. And that's another area that you can be maybe further involved in the portal here. Okay. So obviously I'm looking to continue to provide value. Okay. To everyone. And one way for me to continue to support you is to have some support here. So looking for the subscribes and likes and comments along those lines. Okay. And we'll move on. All right. So let's go ahead now and move on to the NQ. All right. The market that everybody wants to take a look at it. Everybody wants to understand here. Okay. So let's go ahead and move along here a little bit. All right. We're going to take a look at the daily. Okay. So we're seeing a fair amount of bullish price action here at the moment in this market. Okay. You can see here that we're rapidly coming up to the highs here at 22,270 up to 22,000. The highs here are 22,005. Okay, we have a developing bullish candle that opened up in the middle of this prior candle here on Friday. Okay, so lots of interest, at least at the moment, for some continued price movement to the upside. Okay, very healthy. If I'm just looking at this area here, okay, this is a very healthy, kind of price move here to the upside. No real indications that we're breaking any sort of structure or change of character in this market. Okay, every bit of bad news is received with more buyers at the moment. Okay. All right. So happy Monday to you as well, George. We're going to go ahead now and move on to the 4-hour chart. Okay. We're just going to kind of drill in and look at in a little bit more detail what this market is trying to accomplish here. Okay. So you can see that we are in the upper end of value of this visible range volume profile. For now, it has not been rejected as it has been in the past. Okay. We're seeing a series of bullish candles to the upside. Okay. This 22,000 level remains an important level. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Right now, we are technically, it looks like we are above it. Okay. So this 22,000 level, I'm going to go ahead and mark in red. Okay. Indicating that this is indeed a area of some resistance in the market. Now, the question is whether it's going to remain resistant or not. We won't know that until later in the session. Okay. Moving on to the 30-minute chart. Okay. Now, if I'm again, we don't have the initial balance range open just yet, but we will open the value area here. And I think by looking at some of the price action that we've seen overnight, it does appear that we have a fair number of buyers in this market here. So I'm going to go ahead and locate the value range from Friday here, okay, drag that across to the close of Friday, okay, you can see that participants, right, are willing to pay a premium, okay, to be a part of this market, okay. So you can see here that we have our value area high here, okay, value area high here around 21,842.75. Okay, we broke above, retested the conviction of these buyers, did not ever come back into value, and now we've remained above our VWAP ever since. Okay, so I would say that we have a fair number of buyers, okay, in this market. All right, now this 22,000 level is an area that we've seen be somewhat resistant in the past. But I would say that headed into the session, okay, that there is a fair amount of interest again to the upside. Okay, so I'm going to be looking. I'm going to go ahead and take a look here on the London, see where London is in all of this. Okay, so again, you can see that London is also price is also above London here. Okay, just did a little volume of anchor VWAP on the London side. So on the London side, and even I guess maybe to some degree during Asia, okay, we started off in some sort of consolidation, and now we see that there was a kind of a further push here to the upside. Okay, so if I'm a buyer of this market, and honestly, you know, we are coming up in these areas of some resistance, then I'd like to be a buyer. Okay, at you know, around the VWAPs here. Okay, so we have 22,000. Okay, this is we're at 22,042. So I would say 22,000 would be a logical level. What was resistant, okay, becomes support. And then we also have an area just below here at the daily VWAP, say let's call it 21,955. Okay, is another area of support. So those would be kind of a couple of logical areas, okay, that would offer us a logical location to maybe potentially participate to the upside. Okay. Now, again, we are up against some areas of some resistance, so would not necessarily want to pay retail for that opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at these locations that I've identified here. We have point of control, all right, of this visible range volume profile here. That could also offer us another location where we could maybe take on some sort of execution here. It's more kind of a developing volume profile, visible range volume profile. This area here could also offer us another location to secure a continuation trade to the upside. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to highlight in this market. Does not appear so. So we'll go ahead and move on to the S&P. Okay, S&P. All right, we're going to again start with the daily chart. Okay, and get a sense for what the daily chart is telling us. And again, much like the Nasdaq, okay, we seem to be getting participants that are interested in participating into the upside of this market. Okay, so we have price developing a bullish candle. Okay, we won't know the result of this candle until we're further into the session here. But for now, we see that the market is very much receptive to higher prices, higher pricing. Okay, we're coming off our point of control here around, looks like around the 6,000 level. That 6,000 level does appear to be an area of some support. Okay, we've broken this level. We've come back to retest that same level, and that we didn't find more sellers. We found more buyers. Okay, so daily is looking, I would say, bullish. Okay, moving on to the 4-hour chart. Okay, for our chart, again, we have our visible range volume profile. We're on the high end of value of this visible range here. Okay, so kind of, I guess, for those who follow this, kind of developing a little bit of a P-shaped kind of profile here. Okay, there's kind of maybe some acceptance that's going on. Volume is being added here that appears, at least on the volume profile, to the bullish side of the markets. Okay, so we are beginning to break some structure here. Okay, so we had price close above 6,050, and now it's kind of working its way above 6,075. Okay, I'm looking here to the left, and I see that there is some areas here. Okay, this is 6160, 6100. That this area could offer us something in the way of some sellers, okay, in this market. So while the market is looking bullish, I also understand that I am coming into some areas where we could find some sellers in this market. So okay, something to be certainly aware of. All right, moving down to the 30-minute chart. Okay, 30-minute chart. Again, you can see that price. Gonna open this up here a little bit. You can see that price is above our VWAP, is above our value area, visible range volume profile, kind of a dynamic. You can consider this more of a dynamic volume profile. You can see that there is a fair amount of interest to the upside. Okay, we're starting to see maybe a little bit in the way of overlapping candles here, indicating that maybe there is a little bit of a slowdown in the momentum. Okay, as we approach 6,100, we're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown, but nonetheless, we still remain quite bullish. Okay, moving down, we're going to go ahead and open up the fixed range volume profile here. We're going to go ahead and locate Friday session here. We're going to drag that across to the close of the session. And you can see, again, price is above value, much like we saw in the NASDAQ, indicating that participants are willing to pay a premium to be a participant in this market. Now, what are some areas that of interest for me? Would be the area of value area high, this area here around, is that 6,950? Okay. A secondary area of support, I would say, is the high end of value here on the visible range. I would expect that to be supportive. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that in green. So that's coming in at, let's call it 6,027.50. That would be an area. And then anywhere along the value or volume profile, not volume profile, but VWAP. Okay. So this level here at 6,055, I would expect would also be another area of support. Okay. We're going to go ahead and open up anchored VWAP and see where London is in all of this here. Okay, so you can see that London is also supportive of price, although we seem to be potentially coming into a little bit of a range, right? We see price exceed the VWAP from London, come back below it. Now it's currently above it. Now the question is it going to hold? More importantly, is it going to hold above 6,055? Okay, if it does manage to continue to hold above 6,055, then that would be an area that I, could potentially participate in this market to the upside. Okay. All right. Let's see if there's anything else. Initial balance. We're still about 10 minutes away from the market's opening, so we'll defer on that for the moment. We're going to go ahead and open up ADR or ASR here and see how far and whether we've exhausted the range here, either to the upside or the downside. We haven't. We're kind of in the middle of the range here at the moment. So there's still some room statistically for this market to move either to the upside or to the downside. I would say that looking at the structure at the moment, it does appear that we do have a fair amount of momentum for a continued move through the upside. I think our role as traders is to locate opportunities where we can manage our risk. Okay. And I would say that this area right here, if price does offer that opportunity, 6,055. Okay. You're welcome, JM. 6,055 would be such an area. But me personally, I'm going to be waiting for this initial balance range to establish in about the next hour and 10 minutes. Wait for the initial balance range to establish. Let the market participants tell me which direction they want to take the market, and then I can then use some price reference levels to help me manage my risk. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the last market of the day, and that's going to be the Dow. And when I was doing my weekly review, the Dow seemed to be the weakest of the three. Okay, so while we're seeing candles, remove some drawings here. All right. So while we're seeing some candles continue to the upside, okay, when we're looking at we were looking at the Nasdaq and the ES, we saw that price was well above these areas. We have kind of an inside candle. So of the three equity markets, the Dow seems to be the weakest. Okay, we are not currently challenging any of these highs. We have inside candles. Okay, we're inside this kind of consolidation range, right? This is not what I wanted. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of draw in the consolidation range that I was alluding to. Okay, so here you are. Okay, we have kind of inside this kind of triangle pattern. Okay, right? So as we approach the apex of this consolidation pattern, okay, this is telling me that we're going to make a move. The move is going to be of this type of magnitude. But what I can tell you is it going to be to the downside or is it going to be to the upside, right? That's the consolidation. Now we've been in some sort of bullish pattern up till now. So maybe we are a little bit overdue for maybe a correction here to the downside. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing on the daily. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, you can see that this pattern that I just kind of alluded to here. We are inside value. Okay, right up against the higher end of value, but still nonetheless inside value. From this visible range. We are coming into an area, okay, that could be resistant to price. Okay, this area right here. This area could be resistant to price. So we're going to go ahead and color that in red. Okay. We have not broken, as I mentioned, right? Unlike the other equity markets, the Dow has not broken this area here, 43,000. Okay. So if the price does manage to get above this level and hold, okay, if that gets above this level and holds this level, okay, then maybe that would lead us to maybe further exploration to the upside. So I have to remain a little bit guarded because I am coming into an area where I've seen a lot of price action, a lot of transactions in this area. It's kind of part of maybe this double distribution that was kind of being developed here. That could be resistant to some further price action to the upside. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the 30-minute chart and see what the 30-minute chart is going to tell us here. We're about 6 minutes away here from the open of the markets. I'm going to go ahead and remove some of my drawings here. We're going to go ahead and remove the drawings. You can see the our average session range. You can see that we're on the upper end of value. We're going to go ahead and first open up our fixed range volume profile for Friday session here. Okay, starting with Friday session. Starting about here, dragging that to the close right here. Okay, so you can see that price is above value, okay, but not to the same degree as the other equity markets, okay. But nonetheless, we are seeing participants that are willing to participate in this market to the upside, okay. Price is above our VWAP, above our fixed range volume profile. The only caveat I would make is that we are inside, okay, the value range. All right. So this is probably this area in general is part of a larger value range in this market. Okay. So we are in an area where we could see some resistance here around 42,815. We're going to go ahead and color that in red. Okay. We're starting to get a little bit of reaction away from it. Okay. The other area, if I'm more of the bullish side of the fence here, I would say that the high end of value, which is obviously well below the market here at the moment, would be another logical location to participate or look to participate in this market. Okay. Now, ultimately, we have the low end, or the point of control from yesterday's session that is well below the market at the moment. Okay, so right now, I need to wait for better price location to support a bullish trade. Okay, so these levels that I've identified would serve as some logical areas. We have the point of control here on this visible range here coming in at 42,500. Okay, this would be another logical area for participation to the upside. Okay. Not really keen, honestly, to participate to the upside here at these levels, just because I feel like I'm paying a little bit of a retail price here to participate. I feel like I'm taking way too much risk for the opportunity to participate, given all these levels that indicate to me that there might be some sellers in these areas. Okay. So just to close out here, we'll just kind of quickly go through and take a look at what markets here one last time. We're going to go ahead. Like I said, we were thought that we were developing a little bit of a double bottom. That seems to be weakening here a little bit. We're going to go ahead and open up the initial balance range and see where price is. Okay, because this range is looking to close. This initial range is going to be closing here in the next 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. So again, I'm going to be looking for, right now it does appear, I thought maybe that this could offer me some opportunity maybe for a bullish trade. I'm seeing that there is a little bit of weakness here, although we have a buying wick at the bottom. I'd like to see maybe if I'm going to be bullish on this market, I'd like to see this break up to the upside. Okay, the initial balance range break to the upside, and that would offer me maybe a reason, okay, to participate to an upside move in the markets. Now, I have to be a little bit guarded because seems like there's a fair amount of interest, at least for now, on the short term, to the bearish side of this market, given the fact that price is below VWAP. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add our anchored VWAP to this discussion. I don't know what I didn't. Looks like I didn't add it when we did the review earlier. Okay, so here we are. There's our anchored VWAP. Try this one more time. Anchor VWAP right about there. Okay, so you can see that price, that we see price overlapping, a lot of overlapping prices around the anchor VWAP for London. So some indecision as to where they want to take the market at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to be waiting for price to indicate to me which direction they want to take this. And the way I'm going to do that is based on this initial balance range, which is going to be established here in the next minute. And then based on whether I get a close above or below even, okay, this would be kind of my, that will serve as my price event to support the direction of the trade. Okay. All right. Let's quickly take a look at the crude oil just one last time and see how price is developing. So we see a rather narrow initial balance range. Again, inside some bearish structure here. We see that price is below our value from Friday, indicating that there's a fair amount of interest for continued price action to the downside. Okay, so again, if we do manage to close back inside value or back above this initial balance range, we could see a rotation, right? We could see price rotate through value. Okay, so that's maybe one scenario I'll be looking for. Okay. The last market, and then that'll be the market that we kind of maybe close off this session. Okay. Again, we are looking at we'll let NASDAQ serve as the representative for the equities. So again, I would say that the equities across the board, maybe with the exception of the Dow, okay, is looking quite bullish. Okay. I would say that the ES and the NASDAQ are looking quite strong to the upside. YM is, I would say, maybe a little bit of a lagger in that view, but it does appear that it is a little bit. It's also somewhat bullish as well. Okay, so again, we have to wait for better opportunities. Okay, we have the initial balance establishing here. This is barely the first minute candle of the NASDAQ. Okay, so we'll have to wait and remain patient, at least for the way I like to tackle the markets here. Whether this 30-minute candle is able to close above this structure, that would kind of flip this line here from resistant to support. Okay, so this level here around 22,043.50 would be maybe a little bit higher here, say 22,050 or 53 would be an area that maybe flips from resistance to support. And that could offer me a location where I could maybe potentially participate in an upside move in this market. Okay. we're rapidly coming into the average session range high. Okay, this is a statistical range, so we have to be careful with momentum here as we're statistically coming into ranges that basically we've already exhausted. Okay, so and again, I think we've kind of alluded to here in the higher time frame. Maybe this area here is offering. Let's quickly take a look at that. This area above here could be offering, some areas of some resistance here. So we're coming into some daily levels here. Okay, that could be resistant. You can see here last time we were at these levels, 22,262. This could drum up some sellers to kind of get up out of their beds and potentially participate in this market. Okay, all right, guys. Well, that's pretty much what I have for you today in this pre-market review. I think I would say that across the board, I would say commodities, gold, and crude oil looking a little bit on the short term, a little bit bearish. Equities as a whole, I would say looking a bit bullish. And I think we just need to locate, if we're going to align ourselves in that kind of direction, we just need to be patient and wait for price to reach those levels and offer us opportunities where we can manage our risk to participate in those markets. Okay, thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. So, like I said, guys, happy to entertain any questions across any of the markets that I reviewed. If there are no questions, we'll go ahead and close off the session. Okay, so I'll kind of maybe pause here. I know there's a little bit of a maybe 10 to 15 second delay here before you can actually hear me. So we'll pause here to see if there's any questions, and if not, we'll go ahead and close off the session and wish you guys a very successful session today in the markets. Okay, so it doesn't appear to be any questions. So we'll go ahead and close off this session as we close most sessions. Trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent session, guys, and we'll talk again soon.